It's much bigger than I remember.
Perfect.
This house.
Yeah.
The three of us together again. Everything's gonna be okay.
Well, the story is, I've just directed a film called Blackwood, which is a supernatural thriller, and we're having launch on August the 1st, this Friday. So Joe Hill, who's the writer that wrote the film, he also happens to be an amazing 3D street artist, and he travels all over the world doing these incredible pieces. So the story is that when we launched the film, we decided to actually create a piece of artwork which was going to celebrate the film, really. So what he's done is he's made this amazing piece, which is the owl mask from the film, which is the insignia we're using on our poster. So during the daytime, you see this owl mask on the floor, but at night time it's going to turn into this huge glowing skull. And just to explain what 3D street art is, it's almost like an optical illusion. So what he does is he paints on the floor, but through distorted perspective. When you look at it through a camera, it looks like it's an amazing hole going into the floor, or something huge is coming out of the ground. So it's really popular. It's a big thing, because all this effort goes into making a film, and then you finally finish the film and you think that's it, but then you realise you've got to release it, and then it's almost like you start climbing the mountain all over again. So with the release, we've been getting very involved in it. We've been helping out with all the design and the artwork and the marketing, and in terms of doing events like this as well, we wanted to get really involved in it. I think if you're lucky enough to make a film, you want to try and see it through to all the release, and how you present it to the public as well. So it's been a great experience for us. Well, I met Joe through a mutual friend, and we just clicked instantly, because he was a big film fan, and I'm a huge film geek. And actually, him and Adam go even further back. They've known each other since they were children. They were like 4-year-old boys playing together. So they're almost like brothers, really. But we started developing scripts. We were writing stuff for TV and started developing film scripts, and just really wanted to make something that was going to be like the sort of film we wanted to go watch ourselves in the cinema. So that's the nice thing, we can sit there and talk about the sort of movies we love, and are trying to write stuff that we know is going to keep each other entertained. Well, I think for your first film, you want to try and make something that's going to try and grab people's attention, or for better or for worse, shake them up a bit, or sort of leave them with something to think about. So we tried to make a film that was maybe a little bit controversial, maybe had some scares in there, trying to do something which for me as a director, had opportunities to make something that looked visually nice and stylistic, and had some good performances in there. So making this supernatural thriller seemed to tick all the boxes, and I'm really glad we made this as a first film. I think England and the UK it's obviously got a fantastic heritage for making films. It's been making horror films for years and years, like the Hammer movies, and in the 70s there was a great deal of horror films coming out of the UK. But from my point of view, I think there's a great deal of talent here. There's some fantastic actors. The Americans always seem to be keen coming over here and working with the talent. So I think it's a place of real opportunity as a British filmmaker. This was my first film. The first thing I did was go back and have a look at all the people that I've worked with before as a TV director. So I reached out to people like Russell Tovey and Paul Kay, who I've directed in various things before, and there was Ed Stoppard, who we'd worked with. So I was trying to surround myself with people that I had a good working relationship with, and then Safar Miles and Greg Wise came on board, and Joanna Vanderham. So we had this amazing collective of people who were just a pleasure to work with, and from my point of view, made my first directing experience a lot easier. Well, we're hoping to follow this up with a conspiracy thriller. So it's again inspired a bit by 70s movies, a bit like the sort of man on the run conspiracy thrillers that they used to make in the 70s, but we're bringing it bang up to date and setting it modern day.
So does that mean like missing airplanes and things?
Not quite that, but it sort of does. It was going into technology and about how big corporations and governments can use information against you, and sort of, if they choose the wrong person to manipulate, all the information is out there to suddenly like target that person and turn their life upside down. I think if you're sensible and you've got good people you're working with, as much as possible, you'll keep trying to bring the same team back together again. I think when you go through a filmmaking experience, it's one of the most enjoyable but challenging experiences you'll ever have. So yeah, love to try and bring some of the team back together. I think it's probably just trying to keep up the stamina for the 6 weeks, because we were shooting out in forests and out in the snow, and it was, it was really physically challenging. So whereas TV, you've got a few more breaks. We were doing long days, 7 days a week, and it's you do need a break afterwards.